Tragically, last night, the ACT recorded its 7th road fatality for 2022. At about 11 o'clock last night, police were called to a 2-vehicle collision on Hindmarsh Drive between O'Malley and Red Hill. Initial reports were that one of the vehicles was travelling at high speeds on the wrong side of the road and collided with a second vehicle. Shortly prior to that collision, police also received reports that 2 vehicles may have been travelling at high speed on Hindmarsh Drive and were already responding to the area. Members of the public, ACT Policing, ACT Fire Brigade and ACT Ambulance Service all attended the scene. One driver was a male driver in his 20s, was extracted from his vehicle and transported to the Canberra Hospital. He had life-threatening injuries and unfortunately he was pronounced deceased at the hospital. From all understandings, the 20-year-old male was travelling home from work and had not been driving in any dangerous manner. A female in the second vehicle was also extracted from her vehicle and transported to the Canberra Hospital with, again, life-threatening critical condition. She remains in the Canberra Hospital in a critical condition. I won't say too much more about her in that she's still being provided emergency support. Police are obviously calling for any further witnesses to the incident. I would ask that anyone with information contact Crime Stoppers either via the website or via 1800 333 000. It's vitally important that we piece together what's happened here. A young man has lost his life and another young person is in a critical condition. We believe that a third vehicle may have been involved in the incident and left the scene without stopping to provide any assistance to any injured parties. If anybody out there has any information about that vehicle or any occupants of that vehicle, ACT Police would also be interested in hearing from them, again via Crime Stoppers. And I remind people that they can provide information via Crime Stoppers anonymously if they wish to. I'd like to acknowledge the trauma, again going back to National Road Safety Week, why we're here, that this causes to people that observed the collision, members of the community just out driving about, to emergency service workers, to health workers, and to the families and friends of those who suffered injuries and the gentleman who's passed away. ACT Policing passes on the condolences to everyone involved in this collision.
What can you tell us about the driver of the vehicle that was on the wrong side of the road? I understand it was a passenger. Who's the driver?
My understanding is that the female was the driver of the vehicle and there's only one occupant. As I say, initial report was that there was 2 vehicles travelling at high speed on Hindmarsh Drive. At this time, I don't have anything more on that. The ACT Policing Major Collision Team is investigating the matter. They were called out last night. As I arrived at work this morning, they were just getting back from the scene and the hospital and all the work they do. They will be continuing with those inquiries today, and as I say, if anyone has any help to offer, please contact us via Crime Stoppers.
Was the car being chased by police when it crashed?
No, not at all. There was no involvement with police. That's my understanding.
Is this a street racing incident?
I don't have enough to confirm that. All we had was an initial report that there was 2 vehicles travelling at high speed on Hindmarsh Drive, and police were responding to that report when the second report came in about the collision. So we will be checking cameras in the area and talking to witnesses who might have observed something, and anyone else who would like to come forward, we'd love to talk to them as well.
What sort of car was it that you're looking for? Do you know what the car it is that you're looking for?
I don't have that information at the moment. Once we get some detail from cameras and witnesses during the day, we'll probably go out with more information about that vehicle.
So the chap who was killed in the incident was travelling towards Woden?
That's correct. From the Fyshwick area towards Woden would be the best description I could give of it,
and
yeah.
The 2 cars that were reported to be speeding in the area, they were travelling towards Fyshwick, and then one appears to have veered onto the other side of the road. Is that a summation or not?
Yep, so they were travelling from the Woden towards the Fyshwick area, and one at least has ended up on the incorrect side of the road and caused the collision. So what the other vehicle was doing, I've still got to get some details on.
How is it possible that the vehicle ended up on the other side of the road? From thinking about where it is there a clear divider between the 2 opposite lanes of traffic in that area?
There certainly is, so it would have taken some effort to get over to that side. But again, I just don't have that information to hand yet. We'll certainly be investigating all those things, both with cameras in the area, witness testimony, and anyone else who'd like to come forward and talk to us.
Would you say whether that vehicle
I can't say that yet. All I know is that approximately 2 minutes prior to getting the call about the collision was when we got the phone call about vehicles travelling at high speed on Hindmarsh Drive.
So,
How shocking is this incident to have a high-speed head-on crash, an innocent victim, and someone at 11 o'clock at night speeding alongside the key arterial road?
Well, it's absolutely tragic, and I really feel for everyone involved. There's a life lost and a life hanging in the balance, and there's a lot of people around that who will be traumatised significantly by this, and I feel very sorry for those people. This certainly didn't need to happen. Certainly very avoidable with the road in the area, so really disappointing to hear about the driving behaviours.
And how much does this drive home the message of the week? I mean, truly tragic any day of the week, or any week in particular, but this week being National Road Safety Week.
Well, it drives home what we're talking about, that we want people to drive so others survive. It's not just about you using the road for your own racetrack or for your own ability. It's driving so other people can get home safely. We're talking at the stage about a young man who was just driving home. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He certainly didn't deserve this outcome. And we talk about the National Road Safety Week, about why we do it. It's about reducing trauma. It's not just the persons on the road. There's a whole section of the community, there would be workers, family and friends, who are now significantly traumatised by this event, and they didn't need to be.
Are you able to provide a description of the two vehicles involved?
I can't at the moment, as I say, I do apologise. We'll have more of those details out during the course of the day.
And I assume toxicology reports haven't come through yet, but do you suspect that drugs or alcohol is a playing factor?
Oh, I don't, based on the information I have, but we can't rule it out. We'll rule it in or out based on the toxicology reports. They generally do take a little while. The bloods get taken, and then the ACT government analytical laboratory test those for us, and they'll provide the results.
The third car that was potentially involved, are you expecting that driver might have any injuries, and should people be looking for cars that are potentially backed up a bit?
I'm not aware of any injury or damage to that vehicle. However, I do think that people in the community will know who that driver was or who was in that vehicle and the vehicle involved. So, that vehicle's left people at the roadside and not offered any assistance. So if people are protecting that person or persons, they need to really have a good hard think about whether they need to come forward and even anonymously let us know who was involved in that third vehicle.
With that third vehicle, the driver, what kind of penalties are they facing?
Well, I don't know off the top of my head. We'll have to look at the full circumstances. And again, we're very early in the piece, but it might not be. Maybe they can just offer us some information in relation to what happened. If they haven't done anything wrong, and they've just been caught up in something, if they come forward and talk to us, they maybe can clear the whole thing up for us.
And were the initial reports of there were two vehicles travelling on the wrong side of the road?
The initial report that I had was just that there was two vehicles travelling at high speed on Hindmarsh Drive. What they were up to and what side of the road of, I haven't clarified yet, but hopefully the investigation during the course of the day, and this will be a long-term investigation. This doesn't end in a couple of days. Our officers will be living with this job for up to 2 or 3 years by the time these matters go before courts and coroners, etc. So we'll continue the investigation into all those details.